Okay, so this is November 6, 2012, and we're discussing Bapu Tisziji Muñoz with Ra-kalam. So first I would ask, what's the word you would use to describe Bapu?
One word? God.
When did you recognize his function as teacher or master?
That's a very good question. I recognize that he was a guru and different from any other men that I'd ever met the first time I met him. It took me quite a long time before I was ready to come to him for help as a teacher. And Tisziji pointed out, and as you know, his memory is pretty much, he remembers everything, which sometimes is, scary because you realize all the stupid things that I may have said, and he remembers every one of them. But one thing that he reminded me that I'd said was pretty early on after meeting him, I said, if I needed a guru, you would be the one. But I knew from the beginning that he was completely different than anybody, any normal being. And it took me to go through a lot of changes, a lot of self-sufferation before I came to him for spiritual help. But I did recognize his function immediately.
Did you feel you needed to practice right away, or did it take some time?
Did I feel I needed to practice?
Yes.
Well, in retrospect, I can say I definitely needed to practice, but I didn't realize it at the time. No, and I didn't really have much of a clue of what practice is. I wasn't ready for it.
So when were you ready?
Chronology is my worst subject, so I may not have dates exactly right, but I would say it was probably 15 to 20 years after I first met Tisziji. And I think what brought it about was a period of intense suffering, which was getting worse. And I had at the time what I perceived as the worst luck, like Job in the Bible, times 10. And of course, again, in retrospect, I realized that was all self-created pain. But I didn't realize that at that time. And that's when I first came to Bapu for spiritual help. In the beginning, the music was enough for me because the music in itself is so healing. And that's all I wanted. I always just wanted to play. And then I remember I said to him, please, can I just sit? I knew he had something for me, but it was the first time I really asked for it. I said, it was maybe 15 to 20 years after. I said, could I come and just sit? No drums, no guitar. I just want to hear what you have to say. Share with me whatever insight, light that you might have. And that was a very profound satsang, the first one, which went on for like 18 hours straight. And I'm like, I'm all, and he's sitting like perfectly upright, not hyper, completely relaxed, but precise, as you know, like every word, like a perfection, impeccable. And not long after that, I got the name Ra-kalam, and things definitely started changing for the better.
Did the people around him affect your judgment about him and about this process?
I would say helped confirm it. But I didn't have any doubt whether they were there or not. I had no doubt about what he was, what he is. But seeing the relation of people and watching someone like Subhuti, who's incredible. I'd never met anybody like her either. Just someone who's that strong, a practitioner for so many years, and so such a total recognition and understanding. And seeing Reb had a big effect on me, because I met Reb, Tisziji son, when he was like 1 year old, and of course with his disease, is it cerebral palsy that he had? Yeah, I'm not sure. I forget. I get him mixed up with muscular dystrophy, whatever. It's a painful disease. It's a very tense.
Yeah.
Your body is tense. It's very hard to stretch and relax. And I noticed that, of course, he was in great pain, physical pain. But when we played the music, he was like blissed out, alpha state, like a baby when this on the nipple, how blissed out they look. For him, the music was the mother's milk, and that was extraordinary. See a 1 year old baby bliss out to this really out there, it's super intense, crazy wisdom music. That was kind of a miracle, and also just unexplainable, inexplicable mystery of spirit. So certainly, seeing his relation with people around him, and particularly with Reb and Subhuti and stuff, yeah, I mean, it helped to confirm what I already could see.
How would you describe being worked on?
That's great. That's like psychic surgery is what it's like. And it's all, and I've never seen anybody, I did a little bit of psychiatrist work. I knew a couple of friends who were psychiatrists. I did that a little bit. There's some good smart people and such, but I've never been around anybody that perfect and impeccable, who can read you so clearly, who also knows just how gentle to be, just how hard to be, and what the issues are. Because I mean this with no disrespect to any other spiritual practice, but from what I understand, with a lot of them, it's kind of like one size fits all. Like you come and you do this chant, and you learn this text, and you do this, and that will hopefully bring you there. But with Tisziji, it's very individual, as you know, and it completely varies from person to person, as well as from time to time, depending on what you need. So it's if you went to a doctor and you had trouble with your knee, you're not going to operate on their arm. You're going to get the knee. With Tisziji, he goes right to the core of what your problem is, sees it, and knows how to work on it. And sometimes it's very intense. Sometimes it's difficult to take because it destroys you. But what it's destroying is the part of you that you want to get rid of, that's holding you back. And it's never too much. He always, he's toasted me really good at times, but never before I asked for it. I asked for it very clearly, and if you don't ask for it, you won't get it. But I asked for it correctly, and if the time is right, he'll bring the torch to you. And it's the greatest gift. I can't even express the gratitude I feel to have been worked on by a master like that.
What kind of phenomena have you observed or heard during this process?
Phenomena? Wow. Man, there's all kinds of things that were just almost like psychically miraculous, clairvoyant, a certain timing with natural events. I remember one time we were playing music, and I could feel just giant, catastrophic waves of energy, and it was during the time, I think, right during exactly at the time one of those big earthquakes or Mount Pompeii or Vesuvius or it was blowing, and Tisziji was playing that at the time. There's a story which is you have to be careful telling this in Boston, but where I remember and I have no doubt about it because I was there. We were playing at the 1369 Club during the '86 World Series, which the Red Sox were this close from winning against the Mets. And I remember that we played a set. There was only a few people in the club, and most of them were watching the television because, and everybody's primed. Yeah, I got a first World Series in 80-something years, And I remember we came off the break, and Tisziji said, who do y'all want to win? I think it was Pate was in the group. I think maybe John Hicks. Even though I lived in Boston, I'm a New Yorker, so we all said, yeah, we want the Mets to win. And he said, okay. He said, let's go back up on the stage. And we'd only been off for 5 minutes. Nobody takes a 5-minute break. We went back on the stage, started to play, and we was hitting. And I remember looking at the TV screen, and I could see it at the end of the I could see a guy coming across the plate. Oh, okay. I see another guy coming across the plate. Sure enough, they had this miraculous rally. The ball went through Bill Buckner's leg, and the Mets came back and won the 6th game. And when I saw it later, the way that he missed that ball, I'm thinking, you could hit him that same ball 10,000 times in a row and he doesn't miss it. There was definitely some juju at work. And I'm convinced to this day that our plan, and by the way, that was the thing too, when we finished the tune, I remember we were coming to the end, but it was me or Bapu or one of us kept it going, and then it happened again, and we kept it going, and then finally it just wouldn't make sense psychically or musically to keep it going, so it had to end, and we did last bash, and right at the last bash, the last run came across and won the game, and of course, I have no doubt that we affected that game. Now, I will say, though, that the Red Sox lost the 7th game on their own. We had nothing to do with that one. Anyway.
Why has this influence been so catastrophic in your life?
Mm. Mm. I don't know if I have an answer for that, except that some people have a need for it. Some people have let's say, a sympathetic, intuitive resonance with it. And I'm one of those people. And of course, if I had any doubts, the music would convince me, because I never heard any music like that. And I was, of course, a big lover of John Coltrane's music, and before I heard Bapu, that was the music that had affected me the most, and I understood it was not only for musical reasons, although musically it is no doubt great, all of it is great, but it was the spiritual source that I could hear in Coltrane's music. And then when I heard Tisziji music, it was like that, even more powerful. It's what I've been looking for my whole life, first in music, and then I realized it could manifest itself in music, but it's really not about music, it's pre-music. It's a place that all music comes from, all art comes from, all love comes from, just pure spirit, or God love, impersonal God love. And I had a need for it, and an openness to it. I couldn't, some people, as you know, come around to Tisziji and they go running for the hills. And, I keep coming back, even though I'm aware that I've had a lot of resistance to practice. And it's not easy for me. It's not karmically probably the hardest thing I could do. That's also why it's catastrophic, because it's through his influence I was able to really change from the inside, and that's something that, as you know, very few people do.
So how would you classify his type of knowledge?
That's a great question. Well, it's not something that you would think. It's only something that you could know. And there's never any doubt or hesitation. And having known him for over, close to 40 years now, I can say that there's no disconnect between his word, his wisdom, and his action, which also is how you know when people are speaking truth, because they live in it, not just talking it. Many people who, as you know, who like to speak the spiritual talk, and and they might be quite good at it, and they might even be, to a certain extent, living it. But I've never met anybody who is totally one with their word. And hard to classify it because it's certainly not from any school. But that's one of the things that I love about it. I never wanted to be part of any school or particular tribe. I didn't want to be Jewish. I don't want to be Buddhist. I don't want to be Hindu. I don't want to be jazz musician. I don't. And that's Bapu's wisdom is perfect in a way for that, because he's making it up, brand new on the spot. He's a channel from spirit. When he speaks or plays, I feel like spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, is speaking. And the fact that it's from a Puerto Rican guy from Brooklyn is hilarious and perfect. It could be better, especially for me, man. It's perfect.
How has it been to play with Bapu?
Wow. Well, it's both by far the most rewarding musical experience and also the most difficult. It's hard to play with a true spiritual master because, I'll speak for myself, I was going to say we, but I'll say me, not on his level. And obviously, as you know, we're all of us still fighting the demon of self. And we lose it, and we lose awareness, and it's for whatever reason get taken away. So it's very difficult playing with him. At the same time, there's no other feeling like it. I think one time I said it's not like looking at a rainbow. It's like being a rainbow. It's not like feeling the sun. It's like being the sun. And what I've learned from playing with him is something that I do carry over into my own music, which, I don't feel is at the level of his music, but is getting better, is growing, is just the idea of reinventing a new language every time. That's what it's like. You're making a brand new language every time. That's really being in the moment. That's no attachment to past. There's no licks in his music, and every note is directly from the heart. It just pierces the heart like no other music I ever heard.
So where do you feel his music is coming from?
Directly from spirit. That is which can't be described, can't be defined, has no name, no identification. We could say silence, I think that's the thing. His music really comes from silence.
What has been his music's influence on other people, and why?
The people who understand it on a heart level are healed by his music. And I've seen it. My friend Ron, we call Salba Ghoshi, who has probably seen more trouble in his life than any 10 people I know. You see the effect of music has has, when he hears it, it's like he's transported. And, I've never seen any music. All of us are music lovers, and we have great music has a certain medicinal quality for everybody, but not like his. It's indifferent, and you can see it among the musicians who play with him. These great players who travel great distances to play with him, don't ask for any money, whereas they ordinarily would because they're professional and high priced. They understand on a certain level that this kind of healing that you get from playing with him, you just will not find anywhere else. And I do know too that when people do play with him, they get outside of themselves more than ever, outside of their tendencies, mechanical proclivities, and really the strongest playing I've ever heard. When I hear Pharaoh with Tisziji, I have to say anything Pharaoh does is great. He's one of my all-time favorite. But with Tisziji, he really throws down. It's not safe or nice. It's gone. Dave Liebman comes out, plays stuff with Tisziji that I don't hear him play on his own record. All these guys, Bernie Sininsky is a great jazz pianist, very fluent in the McCoy Tyner, Chick Corea, Bill Evans language and stuff. When he played with Tisziji, he plays. It might take him a tune or two before he gets those old patterns out of his head, but usually by the second or third tune, he's playing completely new stuff that's never been played before. And I think the musicians are grateful for that, for being pulled out of their patterns and also reconnected with the real reason for playing, which is nothing but heart, but love, demonstration of love.
Any last comments?
Any last comments? I'm supremely grateful that I was able to meet Tisziji, get to know him, to play music with him, to be a student, to have him as a guru, has been easily the greatest blessing in my life, and my one most important and true purpose or function in life is to keep practicing, get closer to his vibe, to his energy, to his reality, and to help him with the music, or spreading the music, spreading the word. There's no other function I have in life, including my own music, that is more important than that. That is it. If I could say that's a reason why I came down into the earthly body, it was to meet this man, to hear his music, to be part of it, to help it along if I can, any little way that I can. And my father felt the same way too, and he lived longer than anyone would have expected. He was not a healthy guy in terms of his habits and such, as you know. You remember my pops, Chompa. But he said it, and I know it's true, he stayed around so long as he did, 87, so that he could meet Tisziji and have, let's say, a spiritual awakening near the end of his life, which is also mysterious, miraculous, and just goes to show it's never too late. So I just feel incredibly blessed. That's it, and grateful beyond words. Phew.
Yeah.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Aqueduct for your porpoises? I hope. For our